there at the end, mate. Firstly, how's Luke?
Yeah, well, I think he's got a strained hamstring, which is unfortunately he bent over to pick up a ball and felt some discomfort there. So we'll get that scan during the week. But yeah, he hasn't had soft tissue hamstrings before, so we'll just see how that plays out. But depending on what the result of the scan is, I'd think he'd be very, very unlikely for next week, which is a bit stiff for us because we need as many as we can get. But we probably got 4 or 5 guys that are all pretty sore out of the game. So it was a tough game in terms of the scoreboard. But what's also disappointing is you lose some players along the way. Darcy Tucker lasted 5 minutes and he was tight in the hamstring, so he needed to come out of the game. And Marnes hurt his shoulder again, and Flinny Perez got a head knock. So we're the walking wounded. But that happens in the game. It's a collision sport, and it's a very, very demanding game. Soft tissue injuries are common in the game, and it was our turn to take a bit of a hit today. But our twos had a good win, so we'll just need to replace the guys that are going out with guys that come up from our seconds.
Must have been really pleased though with Luke's game Friday. I thought he started on really well.
Yeah, he played some good footy for us, but the gap between us and Port Adelaide was stark in terms of the quality of their ball use. We had 18 more possessions, but we also had probably 20 or thereabouts absolute clangers, either by hand or foot, that we just gave the ball back to them. And that was a reflection of the distance in quality between their side at the present time and ours. And we just need to get better in that space. We had our hands on the footy enough times. You wouldn't think when we get beaten by 10 goals that we'd have the ball more than what Port Adelaide did, but we did. But they, either through their pressure or our poor decision making and execution, gave the ball back to them far too often. And as I said, they would then make us pay on the way back on frequent occasions. So that's the quality of their side and where they're at the current time. And every expectation that they'll finish right up the pointy end. And our 3 most savage losses this year have come against sides that are going to significantly compete at the back end of the year, and we're just not there yet. But we've just got to work on our game, and a lot of these sides that we're getting beaten by now, they've been in our position, and we just know there's no easy way. We just got to work our way through it.
You still feel like you're on the right track though, despite the losses starting to build up?
Yeah, we just just like some continuity with our players. That's what's the disappointing thing with some of these guys going out after today's game. It's just want to get some continuity with our players, and but we just work our way through it and just slowly get better over the journey.
I feel like the second quarter was probably where Port started to get on top. I thought in the first quarter, despite a few turnovers and committed penalties, you started the game really well, but Port really got on top in that second quarter.
Yeah, I think it was 8 goals to 1 that quarter. The game's decided by 10 goals, so when the team kicks 7 more goals than you're in one quarter, we were really disappointed with our just the amount of times we gave the ball back to Port Adelaide when we had our chances with the ball in hand, and we just, especially by hand, we gave it back to them trying to handball forward or sideways, and it's either poor execution or really, really good play by Port in terms of their defence. Probably a little bit of both, to be fair. But they're a good side, and they maybe force some of those mistakes. But I'm also of the view that we could have been better with the ball in hand and not throw it around so much.
I thought Todd Goldstein batted on really well and really dominated the ruck, but obviously you just weren't able to capitalise on Goldie's influence in there.
Yeah, that was a shame. He dominated the hit outs, and we just couldn't get the ascendancy in that part of the ground and get the ball forward for us, which is unfortunate. Even if we got first possession, which was frequent at centre bounce, I think we were first possession at centre bounce more often than Port Adelaide. but we're well down on the clearances. So we're getting our hands on it, but then giving it back to him. So that was a little bit of the story of the day. But I thought he soldiered on really well, Goldie, and it's a part of the game that we're hoping we get some ascendancy in, given that as a really experienced ruckman in Goldie versus a young guy for Port. We were hoping that we'd get our hands on the footy in that part of the game, and we did, but we just couldn't capitalise on it, which once again is either scratchy on our behalf or good play by Port that they were able to read some of Goldie's taps.
I was talking to build up around Jason and Francis playing Northern for the first side. It looked like Hugh Green was weapon even a little bit of stoppage in the first half, but it really didn't look like there was much of a coming and Nick Dacos in the kind of style of game as you probably foresaw during the week. No,
listen, it's just that. As I said during the week, he's not the first guy that's ever gone home. He's certainly not going to be the last, and that's frequent, and it's really, we shouldn't be putting too much pressure on these kids. They're big decisions that they have to make. The way that our system is set up is if you're drafted to a club, in a lot of instances you've got to move away from home. For some kids, they're ready for that challenge and opportunity, and for others it just doesn't suit them. And we've moved on, and Jace has moved on, and from our point of view, we didn't even mention Jace in the lead up to the game. It was just like he was another player for the Port Adelaide side that we needed to try and combat, and to the credit of their side, we weren't able to do that today.
Hugh Greenwood came in for Ben Cunnington, Clark. I guess, how did Ben go today in the twos, and can we expect to see him back sooner rather than later?
Well, I'd hope he's played well, and I know the result of that game, but I don't know who's done what in the game, and I'll get a report on that later on today. But hopefully, he's a very decorated servant of our club, Cunners, and he would have been. He'd have been disappointed that he was out of the side, no doubt. But he just the credit of the bloke, he took it in the right way. He knew that he wasn't playing well enough. He also knew that Huey Greenwood was playing some great footy in the twos and deserved an opportunity. And he gracefully handed over his spot on Thursday at team selection. So he's a ripper, and hopefully he plays some good footy and gets himself back into the side soon.
Another one off topic. You've been a big advocate of Tassie getting her own AFL licence and a little bit involved before your time in Northland. I was incredibly pleased to see the events of last Wednesday unfold. I've said right from the get-go this is not just a football decision for the state; it's an economic decision, and the state's been fighting really hard for this opportunity, and I just hope that all the furor around the stadium isn't the reason for this to be derailed in any way, because the whole state should get behind it. They've been working so hard to get this opportunity, and I know that if it's embraced by all, it can benefit everyone in the state, whether you're a football follower or not. This could be something really special. It's a great opportunity, particularly with government support. There's not another club in the land, maybe even the world, that's got the government support that the Tassie side will have, and that's really special. And if they do it well, they could set themselves up to be a really prosperous side in this competition.